Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 99 of Design Cinema. This is Feng Zhu speaking, and we are just one episode away from episode 100. And hopefully I get that done before the end of the year. So actually I will, because I've been preparing for it. Should be a pretty cool episode, and it's exactly 10 years as well. I started Design Cinema in 2009, and this year is our 10 years of doing this crazy shows. And so thank you guys for watching, but we're not quite there yet, so let's leave the thank you stuff for episode 100. Today I'm going to continue showing you guys some of these tips for students learning at home. So in 98 I showed you guys how to approach digital painting from thinking about light versus just straight up painting. And today I'll be showing you guys photo sketching. So normally when you hear the word photo sketching, you think about drawing things from photographs. But today we're literally going to be drawing using photos, like basically using photos to put stuff together. It's a little bit different from photo bash. So photo bashing is one of those terms that as teachers, man, it really scares us, because when students get their hands on photo bashing, the results are generally pretty bad. When pros use it, obviously pros are pros, they could make anything work. So photo bashing in the hands of a professional, because they know perspective, they know fundamentals, they know lighting, they know atmosphere perspective, they could pretty much make it work. But in the hands of a student, photo bashing generally devolves into some kind of post-apocalyptic landscape or grass and overgrown trees, because that's one of the easiest ways to use photo bash, because you don't have to worry about perspective, finding clean objects, and all that kind of thing. So it's beneficial to a certain degree, but you cannot use photo bash to do a lot of clean designs. For example, you want like an office or for a CEO or something, it's pretty much impossible to do that, or very, very difficult. Might as well build it in 3D. So anyways, today we're not doing photo bash, but we're doing something using photos. So I like to call it photo sketching. In a way, you can think of it this way. Long time ago, we used to sketch on paper, right? So we have an idea, you want to design something, we'll use sketches to find that, and we'll still be doing that to a certain degree, but some kind of sketch. So let's draw a little castle. Whoa, what does that sound outside? Okay, so a little castle, right? And then using that, we go into references, right? So once you have that, you have your refs. Okay, and generally this looks like in your Photoshop, or use Adobe Bridge, is a bunch of thumbnails of images. And this is kind of cool. This has been done. I'm pretty sure most of you out there use this method as well. Now, I do as well. I got thousands and thousands of images stored this way. So you have this in your library on your PC or so forth. So using that, you find the references, and then you move into your approach towards final. Okay, and whatever your process is here, so let's move this over here. This is your process. This is the kind of the path, right? So it could be, for example, 3D. It could be a better drawing, whatever that could be. So this is the generally the steps that it takes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're done. So today we're actually adding a step in between, which is not adding, actually, I should say we're replacing the sketch. Prior to doing this, we're gonna do, let's just call it step 0, which is gonna use photos to actually sketch the idea. Now, we've been teaching this method for quite a while at the school. We find that this is very beneficial, especially for those who are a little bit younger, whose head is not so filled with visuals yet. For example, you're age 19, you're age 20. There's only so much stuff you have in your memory, unless you grew up with parents who took you to museums and stuff for 12 years. Most students come in with limited visualization in their head. We call it visual library. So they might know a lot of stuff from video games, but if you mention like detailed Gothic architecture, they probably don't know it. We have to look at reference for that kind of stuff. So when they sketch a drawing without any kind of reference, which was step 1 over here, we find the sketch to be pretty rudimentary. It's pretty basic. And then when they go to reference, the problem is they find too many references. Okay, let me switch different pen. Some of you could probably relate to this. Like you have a folder and there's like 250 images in there related to your project. You're not going to use 250 images, right? So you find all these images. It took you probably some time, and for students, finding that many images probably burned at least a few hours of their time. And then when they actually start to do the design, they don't use most of it. So, and as an art director or a teacher, when we look at the folder full of these references, we don't know what the heck they're going to use. We're like, okay, everything here is pretty good. They're all good. There's nothing wrong with it. But how are you going to apply this reference? Like you show us a big environment or a castle or 10 different castles. which castle are you going to use, which element do you like. So it creates a little bit of for us teachers, we don't have a clear direction of what you want to do. And same thing for students. When they actually start the actual design, they're also kind of overwhelmed by the amount of references, and they kind of default back to the original sketch, and it ends up pretty boring. So we're going to replace this today by using photographs to find the initial design, to find the general direction, and go from there. So before we even have a sketch, we have a photo sketch. And today I'll show you guys how to do that. But to start, we need a subject matter. So let's do that. So this week, our students should be doing a project in the Singapore school here. They're doing something called the throne room. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that subject and use this method to come up with 2 ideas. So I'm not going to be drawing this design at all. I'm only showing you guys the process, okay? So I'm going to do a throne room. So there are a lot of throne rooms out there. So what the first thing we're going to do is take a look at what the industry currently has. So I found a couple references in here. Let's just throw some of these out here so you can see. These are industry throne rooms, a variety of them. Let me open a bunch of different things. Let's see. All right, these should be pretty good. Let's take a look. Okay, so hopefully this episode will inspire my students here as well, because they're literally working on this project right now. But they have about a week, 2 weeks to put this together, an interior and exterior. So hopefully this episode they'll take a look and maybe could use this process as well. But we do teach this here at the school already, this kind of photo sketch. But some of you out there might not have seen it, and this might benefit you. So here's of course from Empire Strikes Back. We got the well, actually this is Return of the Jedi, right? It's the last scene from the movie. So this is from that. Pretty cool, pretty Mayan kind of temple kind of thing, you know, pretty cool, pretty simple, yeah, but very iconic. It is a throne room of some kind. You got the princess at the end of it. Let's see here. I did say Return of the Jedi, right? I don't want your fans out there going, that is not from, you know, this is Return of the Jedi. It shouldn't be the 3rd one. I have no idea which one this is now, because the Star Wars water got all crazy. Is it number 3, 4, 5? Should be 5, I guess, because New Hope is 3 or something. I don't know. Okay, anyways, here's one from Snow White, the new reboot of the Huntsman type of episodes. Here's Conan, which actually has no room. It's just him sitting on a chair. This is from Final Fantasy 15. Pretty cool looking, very Roman-esque. If you look at the game, they took a lot of references from Gothic architecture and so forth. Pretty cool looking though. Here's a set from World of Warcraft, the film version of the throne room. Looks like they're actually shooting here. You can see the camera crew over there. Pretty neat. Very gamey, because the IP itself is a video game. Here's the Thor stuff, right? This is all mythological base. You can see some Viking type of influences, since it's Valhalla and so forth, right? So they got to get the Viking influence in there. You can see from all the symbols in the sides here. Here's Aquaman, pretty neat. This is the one down when he fights the trident. So this must be what is it, like that the Atlantis king or something, right? Has this trident here, using a octopus as a just water here. Using an octopus as its main anchor point. And here's Magnificent. That's pretty cool. Angelina Jolie. So a lot of cool stuff out there, right? So imagine our project here. We have to design a throne room too. How would you start? So for most students, they will start sketching, like some sketches, and hopefully find some shapes that works. But imagine your visual library is pretty weak. Then you might just be sketching something very generic, like I want a hallway and some staircases. Up here is a chair, right? And some columns, right? Nothing wrong with this, but this is pretty default. There's not a strong visual language type behind this. It's just a perspective sketch. And we do see a lot of students get stuck at this point. So let's approach this differently. But we do need an idea before we go looking for photos, because the idea, that's the hardest part, okay? The idea, which means what is the theme of this throne room? What do you want it to be? Is it like a traditional French 1400 throne room? Is it a futuristic one? Is it a cyberpunk one? Is it a super fantasy one, like a video game? What is it? So I chose 2 categories I want to do. First one I want to do is sort of, what's the best way to put it? Is industrial plus Gothic, okay? I want to give this a try. I think this could be a pretty cool language. Another one, I want to try a wooden-based plus medieval architecture. So that's the two themes I want to do. I'm going to keep both of these throne rooms circular based. That means its footprint, the architectural footprint, is a circular shape. So this also benefits if you move this in 3D. Now it's much easier to draw this. Back in the days, we don't even do circular stuff because it's too hard to do the perspective on it. So that's my two major themes I'm going to try. So now I'm actually going to go find references of these themes and literally sketch with photos. You'll see the results can be pretty messy, but this is to help you guys think. Okay, so this is not this episode is not going to produce anything pretty. It's going to be super ugly stuff. It's all the stuff the clients never sees, all for yourself to think on paper. Okay, so let's start a new page here. Let me turn that font off as well. So let's start with the wooden one. So this is the wooden medieval throne room. Okay, let's throw that over here. We don't need this to be so big. All right. So I pre-collected a bunch of references here. So let's see. Here's the refs. Let's go to wood. Okay. So what does photo sketching mean? Well, that means you use your photos to literally put this stuff together. So I want a circular space to begin with, but we can start throwing all these references on the paper anyways. But I generally have to start with the grander scale thing. So here's a pantheon. All right. Why is this? Oh, I see. Forgot. Photoshop, you throw it in, it comes in as some kind of weird object. I prefer copy and pasting. Okay, so I'm gonna use this as my base. Okay, obviously I'm not gonna build a pantheon, but I'm gonna use this form as a base. And since we're sketching with photo, I could just mess with this. Okay, so I'm not photo bashing. I'm not gonna use this image at all for anything related to the final. Okay, I'm only using this to think on paper. So I want my building to have a shape like this, and it's also similar to this one here. This is in Rome. Yeah. So I want a circular base building. So I'm going to remind myself, okay, it's going to be something like this, but my structure is not going to be made out of stone. I want to make this out of wood. Okay, I think that's going to create a pretty nice visual. So it's almost like tribal type of design, except it's a little bit more sculpted, a little bit more medieval. So that's going to be my center point. Okay. Now let's keep looking, right? I found these references. Now the Pantheon has these awesome doors, and I don't want to keep that. I think I'm gonna keep a door that big and it's being made out of wood. But I might not use all that Roman type of structure. So that's gonna go here. And I'm gonna start a new layer, and this layer is gonna be my little arrows that point to that. Okay, put this one here. I'm gonna use my pen, say this is sort of the circumference of the room. It's gonna be like that. I'm gonna move this one down a little bit. And while I was looking for references dealing with stone, I also found this really cool looking floor from Indonesia. I go, man, this would make a really cool bottom for the throne room. So let's give it a try. Let's put that in here. So this will go on the base, somewhere right about here. Let me take my pens out first so we can see clear. So imagine the Pantheon building. It's gonna sit on top of this room. Let's do that. Oops. Which one's the Pantheon? That's the Pantheon. It's going to sit on top of this guy here. Okay. So you can see here, I'm starting to sketch using photos. Like, okay, that dude's going to sit right on top here. It's going to look something like that. That's pretty cool. I'll keep this one to the side to remind myself of the, that's a circular room. This door, I might even make it bigger than the actual Pantheon. It's going to go right in front. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's going to be all wood. So what's that structure going to look like? Yeah. Well, I have reference for that type of thing. So for example, the ceiling. Check this ceiling out, right? Pretty cool. It's a dome ceiling made out of wood. So let me lighten it up a bit so you can see it. So that will go in here. Boom. Okay. Now this is starting to make sense for you guys, right? Literally sketching with photographs. Kind of like taking the references, and instead of just keeping it all in the folder, we're going to put it all together visually. And again, this is not for anyone else to see. This is for yourself. So visually, you could start to make sense of it, and it gives you a lot of ideas. For example, even this one here, if I zoom in, if I use this form here as my reference, I can see that 4 pillars come down. Well, that's a good architecture element to break this space up, right? So it gives you a lot more ideas than simply reusing my own sketches, which unless your visual library is very strong, you're very limited to the amount of stuff you come up with if you're sketching from scratch when you are very young or not that experienced, right? So let's keep going here, okay? Because I found a bunch of cool stuff in here. Sconces, all this stuff is great. These are details which we could put in. Here's a kind of a generic medieval sconce, but don't worry, oops, wrong here. We still want to put this in here to remind ourselves that eventually we're going to need these details in here. So we could just kind of shrink it small, and we'll have arrows eventually to point to it. Here's a couple other things that we could put in this room. We'll put all these little details on the sides here. Okay. Let's keep going here. Where am I here? Okay. So here's some more wooden structures that I love. Okay. These beams, these wood beams, this is for a medieval kind of a cathedral, the roof, like Notre Dame, and these places have this kind of structure. But I could use this on the sides of the structure. So if I take half of this, that's the perfect location. Let me go back to my pen here. For here. Okay. So if you look at this structure here, right? Imagine you're 19 years old, you're 20 years old. There's no way you could store this in your head unless you grew up around like some serious historic parents, who's teaching you this at a young age. So when you're sketching, you're not going to put this in your sketch. You don't have that visual library in your head. So by having a image, you're like, okay, that I could use to build this part of the structure out. So it's made out of wood, and then connect it with, let me move this over. Put all my notes. Okay, connect it, boom, directly with this rooftop here, and I'm starting to get a architecture element out. Okay, something that I would not be able to do if I didn't have these photos as my background. Okay, let's keep going. Let's get the major stuff in here before I get the. So here's a chair, which I thought was pretty cool. Be a nice throne made out of wood as well. So perfect. That dude will go right there. Okay, none of this is to scale, by the way. Hopefully it makes sense, right? This is not to scale. This is all just elements in there that's gonna help me. To scale, this chair will be like something like that big. Okay, but then I can't see it. So I'll make it like big enough for me to see it. So something like that. Okay, let's see what else I got. Here's some sculptures, medieval sculpture. I thought was pretty cool, like made out of wood, because I'm just looking for things that's made out of wood here. So I could use these maybe on some of these pillars. Let's just cut one of them out to remind me where they go. See all these pillars in the Pantheon? Right now they're made out of marble and all sorts of cool stones. I'm gonna make mine out of these wood beams, mere little wood sculptures like that. Yeah, let's keep going. Boom. What else do I have? Let's see. Already got that floor. Okay, candles. Here's a red. This is a very throne-looking space. So what I could do is, if I carve the bottom of this thing, right now it's made out of stone, but I could carve that out of wood. I could then connect it to this area here. Okay, get rid of those pillars, but that will go somewhere right about here. Okay, really bad job here. And then my little chair is behind it. I don't even need those Roman things. The architecture is more little bit more ancient. So this chair will go like right there. Yeah, to scale, not to scale right now, right? But just you guys get the idea. So I'm gonna sit right there. Look at this thing, right? So if you have a pretty good imagination, this should start to come together for you visually. That you have this domed round building. When you walk inside, it has these multi-tier things, so maybe all the subjects are sitting around here, like this. And then you have the king or queen sitting over here, okay? So this room starts to take shape, and this is something that I'll probably never sketch out on my own. I think if I just sketched from scratch, even with so many years of doing this kind of stuff, I think I'll still be limited to maybe a generic hallway with some chairs at the end of the hallway, right? This is gonna give me some new ideas that normally wouldn't come to me on my own. Okay, so let me just delete some of that. So these are some details. That's a detail. Okay, look how ugly this thing is, but it's fine. That's the whole point of it. Let me make it bigger so it eats up the page. Doink, doink. I'm sketching right now in an A3, so it's might make the image a little slow. Okay, anyways, what else do I have in here? Here's more details of doors, which I don't need. It doesn't mean I use every single reference I have in here, but there's some really nice wooden details. So this is all details that if I was to build this in 3D, I could then start using. Okay, so these details, for example, could go all around. Later I'll mark with these arrows. Let's do that now so you guys can see where this goes. All right, see all these details up here from this medieval structure here. Very, very cool wooden stuff. It's all sculpted out of wood versus stone. That would then go perfectly on the sides here. This ceiling will go here. This already marked it to the sides, right below the structure that we just put in, and connect to the roof. This stuff will go on the beams. This stuff will go on the hallways behind the beams. Door already goes here. All right, this is already in its position. The steps as well as the throne are already in the correct place. So now I have a good visual of what this room is going to be. I got a few more details in here. Oh man, I hate doing that. Put that. Oh, I gotta put this out of that mode. Okay, so here's more details of just wooden beams and supports. Let's cut one of these sides out. Okay, so here, this is a detail that I could then use to do all around the room. Okay, so that could go there. So usually what I do is I put this stuff out here so it doesn't get in the way of the major architecture, and just use the red pen to mark it visually where that goes. So that'll go into here. Okay, and I got a few more details I want to use, one of which is this thing. This is actually a modern building, also I think in Indonesia. Really powerful forms here. So they took their cultural things and kind of made a modern building out of it. But I like the way it looks. Now I'm not going to use this exactly, but I like the power that it conveys, and this will look really good, I think, outside. So right now the real Pantheon has these Roman pillars. I want to replace it with these more squarish pillars, because I want to make all the pillars sort of a little bit more square, a little bit more wooden, so it's not so Roman. And I'll make that adjustment as I go into 3D with this, right? But put it here to remind myself what the architecture is going to be. And there's that. So I have the outside, right? So the whole structure size of it is going to be a lot smaller than this guy. This guy in Rome is pretty big. So, but I generally have an idea how big this is. So I can mark it like a little human standing in this space. I think the height is pretty good. All right. Then we have the dome on top, like the Pantheon. I think a person is maybe about that big, maybe a little smaller. Okay, that scale is pretty good. Yeah, maybe a little taller. Something to this degree. That'll be my scale for this entire structure. Okay, let's see what else I have as reference. Let's see, I got door details, got the chairs. Here are a few more details. This is all real world stuff. Really nice details for pillars. Oh yeah, I like this pillar because it's square-ish. It's not a round Roman-ish pillar. So I'm gonna drop that dude in here. And let's put it over here. Bam, put it over here. That's all detail for the walls. Let's see, anything else left? Let's see. Oh yeah, here's some fire pit stuff. So this could be what? Okay, whatever. Okay, so we could use these. These are used for cooking, but I actually want to use them as like fire pits. So put them all around the sides of the room. They look pretty cool. Iron casted, very medieval looking things. So we'll drop those all around. Come on, all around the sides here. So all around the sides, right? Let's keep going. Oh, candles, always good. Let's see, let's drop these. So put these on the sides. These are all details, just to remind ourselves what is gonna go inside this image. So these, whoops, what? Okay, I'll save that later. Let's put these in first. So that will go all on the sides, okay? And this is sort of it. This is enough for me to, maybe throne there should be, is there a king and queen? Should we put 2? Let's see. Could put 2 on this one. Kind of cool. Boink. Boink. Okay. This now, even though it looks messy as heck for anyone else who don't know this process, but for us as a creative person, this is starting to make a lot of sense. And now when I start, I know what I'm doing with this room. At least the bigger picture is there. Of course, there's a lot of hard work ahead. We got to figure out the details and how to really connect these architectural shapes together. But at least I have something on paper that's not a generic hallway with a bunch of pillars and a chair at the end. So this is a method that we teach our students on how to think using visuals. So let me pause this one, and we'll do one more example using the other architecture, was the industrial Gothic architecture, and let's do another example of this. Okay, so I'll be right back. So let's do another example. Let me name this one. This is called the wood throne, just for now. Okay, let's throw all this in there. Boink. Okay, let's do another one. We'll call this the industrial throne. So it's going to be a kind of a mixture of Victorian with a little bit of Gothic, right? Trying to come up with a new design language, but still visually strong enough to convey a kind of a old world throne room. So we're not trying to do a modern industrial thing like factories and so forth. So let's start that. Let's fill this background in. Boom. So I found some references of that already to save some time. So you can see I have iron, doink. All right. So when I was searching for this, I was like, okay, what's my base? I want it to be circular. That really established. And when I was looking at this building here, right, this is the Grand Palais in Paris. I'm like, dude, this will look beautiful as a throne room. Obviously not this big, but using this type of architecture, which you see a lot of train stations. Paris obviously still has this building around. But I thought, hey, I haven't seen this used too much in a throne room scenario. So let's use it here. All we gotta do is shrink the scale down a bit so it's not this ginormous, but using the same kind of motif applied to a round building. So that's gonna be my ceiling. It's industrial, it's metallic, it's Victorian, right? Which is about 1800s or so. Now there's a couple building choices I have here as my main base. And I thought this one here, I don't even know what this is, some building I found on the internet. But this building is pretty cool. But of course, when we design it out, we're gonna make the sides all made out of glass. But in terms of its size and the way it looks, it's pretty neat. All we gotta do is build this and then mix it with the glass. Okay, so it's something like that. Okay, and we could put a few more references. This one's pretty cool too. We could put this as a standby. I like the way it's super high up. This is actually some kind of power plant, I think, when I was looking for images. Kind of neat. I'll keep it there on standby. Okay, now let's do more bigger picture stuff. So you can see the what is it called? This is some gallery thing they built in London. It's really neat. This image here, all made out of glass. It burned down. It's already gone, but it's a pretty powerful looking building that we could keep it as standby in terms of the material. This one here is a perfect one for the interior, for lighting and materials. Okay, so the inside the throne room, you can almost imagine it to feel like this, but a person's is about maybe about, let's use red here, we can't even see it. So right here you can see a person's a tiny little thing right here. That's too huge for a set, so we'll make it maybe about this big. Okay, about double the height. So shrink everything down by 50%. And that makes a pretty good sized throne. This is almost matching the exterior of the building that I want to use. All right, if you shrink it 50%, you're almost getting that because it's kind of like a cross section. If you look at this building from above down, it's kind of like this, and then we have essentially that shape. So we put our chairs here as a throne. We have a center courtyard, circular based. We might not even need the two sides, but we'll see. And you can see it works perfectly with this reference here. It works perfectly with this, and it works perfectly with that. They're all different areas. They're not the same place, but architecturally they're similar. So we could combine them together architecturally to make it work. All right, so let's throw this on the side here. That's for lighting. Let's keep going here. Found this pillar. This is a beautiful design here. Check out this beam. So this beam here work really well. I'm trying to delete something. Okay, delete. I don't need the middle part. I want this beam to the middle. So instead of having to come down like this one here in the Grand Palais, I'm gonna use this structure, which is almost like a diamond shape coming down. That's a beautiful form. I have no idea what this place was. I think it's a train station or some kind. Pretty neat space. Okay. Let's keep going. And it's something I'll never draw on my own. And that's the whole point of this episode. It's like, if you're sketching this, I don't think you'll come up with these forms because these are forms that took hundreds of years and thousands of people to come up with. So what we're doing right now is using these visuals to compose a new design to get us started. So we're not doing everything from scratch. Okay. So I found this little gazebo here. I go, hey, that's kind of cool. Now I don't like the shapes in here. It's kind of like a garden. It's not the best looking thing, but I like the round motif. And I want to put this in the center of my room. So basically where the courtyard would go. What? Okay, so that goes here. So imagine this here goes right in here. Okay, so when you come in, it's got this thing here. This is the outside, so let's drop that here. We should put it this way. We should put this. Let's rearrange our photos in sort of a logical order here. So this is our exterior. This is the pillar on the sides. Should go there. Good. That is just a ref. Okay, what else do we have? Well, here's some more just beautiful metallic architecture. So this could be, you can almost see it. Like, let's just put this right here. Okay, put this one a little bit lower. Let's zoom in so you can see what I'm trying to do here. beautiful staircase. So this, imagine this to be what the king or queen will be sitting. So you walk in, you have this grand glass architecture, a lot of Victorian metal, these iron pillars, much thicker pillars than the ones in here. So we'll beef them up. And then in the middle, we might or might not have this. I'm not sure about putting a gazebo in the middle of this actually, now that I look at it. Right. So these decisions you can make right now. You could like, do I use this or not? Maybe. Let's put this as a maybe. Pretty easy to take out. The only reason I don't like this is that this might block the king and queen, maybe, which you don't want in a kind of this kind of setting, right? You don't want the camera to go into the room and you can't see them. But debatable if we keep this or not. Let me just delete out some stuff and see what that feels like. Right. Or photo sketching, so you could delete things you don't want to see what this might look like. So it looks something like that. Maybe. Okay. And also keep that circular thing I was trying to do with the wooden room. I want to preserve that. Here are more details architecturally of basically this part here. As it goes up, I could then connect that together to form the dome. Okay. Because these details have helped me, especially right now, like our school, everything's pretty much built in 3D if it's architectural. So you want much information as possible before going into that software. Otherwise, to make this stuff up, it's really, really hard because we're not architects from the 1800s. Get that from reference. Okay, this is a tower from like Notre Dame, that kind of era. It's kind of neat, but I'm not sure where to use it. But we might be able to put this on the outside because it's very Gothic. So basically, on the very top right there, pink, maybe on a few on the sides. Okay. It's 3D, so we could copy and paste really easily. Here's another detail of the ceiling, which you already have, but we could put one in here anyways. Let's drop everybody down a bit. Let's hide this image. Let's drop this guy down. I just wanted to fit that ceiling because look how nice this is. And this is real, and you could totally just use it. There's nothing wrong with using real historic architecture like this. Look at that beautiful thing. If we shrink that down a bit so it's not this grand, I think this will make a beautiful throne room. Okay, and then we put that little thing on the top. Let's drop everybody down even further so you can see it. Sorry about my shaking camera here. My table is a little shaky, so every time I use Photoshop, I can see the wobble. Okay, so this guy will go on top of that right there, I think. Okay. This is what I mean by photo sketching. Yeah, ugly, but very, very useful. Okay, what else do I got in here? Okay, here's some more details. These could be on the pillars themselves, so we could use these elements perhaps in the corners here. It's really cool stuff. Almost very, almost Art Nouveau-ish, made out of metal, iron. Okay, let's keep that here as details for pillars. What else do we got here? Let's see. I think we used a lot of the cool stuff already. Here's a bridge. I got this as a reference purely. Let me open these ones up. This bridge has some pretty cool elements in it. I'm not sure how to use it, but because it has this curve, this might be a good support for me when building this stuff out. So I'll leave this here on the sides here as support. So might or might not use it. Okay, make sure I close the right one. I hate it when you close the wrong one. Okay, here's another view of Penn Station in New York. I don't know if this is still around. I think it's still around, right? They're renovating it perhaps. But still, it's got the similar elements as the one in Paris. So we could definitely reference this for design. Oh, there's some construction outside. Hopefully that's not so loud on the tape there. Another one for lighting. So you can almost imagine this as the side of the throne room. So if we could almost do a quick visual of what that looks like. So if I mirror this, it'll be like that, and this will go on either side. Let me shrink this down a bit. Look how cool this process is. It's like instantly gets your brain going. Okay. Of course, you have to use some imagination here because this is pretty messy stuff. But I imagine most of you guys watching this have a pretty good imagination, so you can see what I see. Okay, let me move this here. So you walk in, look at this thing. Let me stretch this out. Right, I don't even care if the photo distorts a little bit or not. I just want the feel. You walk in, the whole room is filled with light. It's all made out of glass. Now that I look at it, maybe I don't like the gazebo in the middle. Let's do it like that. This is pretty cool. And light, pillars of light are coming through. These rays, these God rays are coming through. And the center, you see the whoever's in charge in the middle there. Pretty neat. Let me see if I found a throne or not for this one. I think I did. Oh yeah, I was going to use this. This combined with this. So pretty crazy, but bear with me here. So I have a fireplace, Victorian style fireplace. I go, this is perfect because I saw this round arc here, But I was like, that's kind of looks like a stage, looks like a concert stage. So I don't want to put a leader in front of that. I think it looks kind of weird. But when I saw this fireplace, I go, man, that's pretty cool. A dark fireplace kind of shape. So why don't we drop that shape over here instead? Okay, and get rid of the outside. I don't want the squareness of it. I just want to keep this. Bam. Okay, so that goes there. And then this is the crazier part. We have this typewriter, but I want to only keep this. I want to put the king, queen, whoever it is on the top, and the little subject or sitting chairs below it. So imagine this thing is like this. Look how cool this looks. Or something like this. We could draw a little chair in because I don't have a chair. So boop, little chair right there. I am in charge. Boom, sit right there, right? And imagine this, we'll build this out so they look like little chairs. So our subjects and all the people that are kissing the butts of the king and queen, they sit around here, right? So we have our royal subject on top, and we have these subject matters, the loyal people sitting on the bottom here. So I thought that would look pretty cool. Let's change the color so it's like uniform. So imagine like that. Boom. So I thought that's pretty neat. Bam. Okay. So you're watching photo sketching in action here. Okay. Anything else I haven't used? Here's just some references for some windows, but it's a little modern. But I liked this when I was looking for it, but now I looked at it, it's kind of too modern for what I'm trying to do here. I think that's it. I think that's all the references I need to start this. Now from the outside, of course, we have to take this brick building here and turn it all into glass frames. So I did find a few more references of just the exterior. You can see here of how to build that, because there's some nice architecture elements in here. So let's put that on the side together with this image here. These all go to the side. So they're there for keeping the visual open, but not necessarily being used. Okay. So this way, you can see right here, right? This is a traditional way of collecting references. Like all of us, we all have this in our folders, right? All these references. But when you have it this way, sometimes when you're actually working, you don't use it all. I mean, especially if you're busy sketching and things like that, you're not going to look at all of them. So this way of photo sketching ensures that the references are literally being used, and it just jump starts all these ideas. For this one, I'm gonna get rid of the cars. It just bothers me. Okay, let's get rid of the cars. And I just saw this one here and I found a cool light. I thought that's pretty neat, Victorian era kind of light with candles. So these will hang inside this space. Let's hang them. Doink. Who knows how big these things will adjust as we obviously not this big. None of this stuff is to scale. Okay. But you can sort of see what's happening here. Doink, doink, doink. Okay. So now let's imagine walking this throne room. You have these pillars, grand light, these sconce of lights with glass hanging. You look up and you see the circular roof, which is this one over here. And outside of that, you can see some Gothic pillars. So this will go here. That'll go down a bit. Okay. You look to the left, you see these giant iron pillars with all these nuts and bolts on it, and they curve all the way up to form this round roof. And yeah, so this is my second throne room. Let's take a quick look at it. So this is my industrial one, and here's my wood one. Right, very different design ideas. They both accomplish the spec, which is near a throne room, and hopefully both of them are unique enough to stand out among other throne rooms that's been done before. So just like when we looked at the industry examples of Aquaman and Game of Thrones and what else is out there, the Snow White, right? We all have our own visual, but grounded enough for the audience to understand what the heck this actually does, because we cannot change the concept of it. It'll be really weird. The king is like sitting in a pit or something, right? That's changing the concept too much. So anyway, so this will pretty much wrap up today's episode. It's a pretty quick one, but I think very, very useful. This is something you could try yourself. Very, very easy. Doesn't require any drawing skills at all. And especially if you know how to use 3D, you could then just go ahead. You can even skip the drawing stage essentially and move directly into your software. So give it a try. And Feng Zhu, I'll see you guys in episode 100. So we're almost ready. So I'll be doing that pretty soon. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.